I'll never forget that day. I walked into my chiropractor's office right after school and plopped my backpack down. Bam! The usually cool Dr. Olo was appalled by the thud he heard. He picked up my backpack and said, "Oh no, you cannot carry around that heavy backpack with you all the time. That'll do serious damage to your body." And he promptly wrote me a note to get me an extra set of textbooks for home. What? I didn't want to hand that in, but my mom made me. Sure, it did help to lighten the load and save my back, but that wasn't all I was carrying with me. It's just all anyone could see. I was in grade 8, your last year of elementary school, where you're supposed to be top dog. So of course I didn't want to hand in the note. Then everyone would think I was weak. And weak was not cool. I already felt like a tiny gnat. I had just started that school in September, and so I still had a lot of proving myself to do in order to fit in. And isn't that what every 13-year-old wants? I was super short back then. No, not much has changed in that realm. So I was used to the short jokes, but now it was grade 8, with all the hormones raging and the pressure to fit in mounting. I felt embarrassed, shame of my height and my freckles. The kids used to call me freckle face and shorty and shrimp, but definitely freckle face was the worst. At recess, they tried to play connect the dots on my face. It was so degrading. I felt worthless. And I carried around that guilt and embarrassment and shame and worthlessness with me for years to come in my invisible backpack. Do you carry an invisible backpack around with you too? You know, the kind that carries in it everything you mentally hold on to? Mine was way heavier than my school backpack had been because it was filled with heavy emotions. As I grew, it had shame and guilt and overwhelm. Those were like boulders weighing me down far more than my textbooks had. During COVID-19, I had the opportunity to reprioritize and learn to put myself first. In so doing, I realized that it's not only okay, but good to say no sometimes. Bye-bye overwhelm. I learned to quiet down and be still, and I finally got meditation. And when I was able to quiet down, I learned to value myself. Once I valued all of myself, I knew I couldn't continue to treat myself the way I had been by carrying around all that extra crap. And so little by little, I started to unload my backpack. I did it by forgiving myself for things I would have forgiven others for. Bye-bye guilt. I've practiced compassion. Bye-bye shame. Eventually, all those boulders were gone, but my backpack wasn't empty because remember, it's everything we hold on to. So left in my backpack were things like love and joy, and now I had that even bigger self-love to fit in my backpack. But these things, they're light. In fact, like a helium balloon, they're uplifting. And you know the coolest thing? It's that now that those things are in my backpack, there's no more room for those big boulders. Sure, guilt, shame, and overwhelm still rear their ugly heads sometimes, but now there's only room for them as pebbles. So if you are carrying a heavy backpack yourself, I invite you to unload it and do some rearranging. I'll always be grateful to Dr. Olo for saving my back, but the gratitude for saving myself goes to me. We all decide what fills our backpack. That's why I decide to keep self-love as my biggest item. What will you fill your backpack with?